Welcome to Talking Grit, a Detroit Lions podcast. Talking Grit is brought to you by the Monroe County Reporters, Monroe's top news source for police, fire, and community events.
Post 3 and Depot Street. Truck boy at request.
Follow them on Facebook, and for $2.99 a month, you can become a subscriber and get the news you crave even faster.
All right, everybody, welcome back to Talking Grit. I'm Jason Harwood, and with me is Jacob Litton. Got a good show for you today. We got some brand new news that came out earlier today. We're recording this on Monday night, so we'll talk about that. And we got some other fun topics to talk about. So, how you been, Jacob?
Pretty good. Back in the full swing of it. No more vacation for me. You're off again, but
I was off one day, my friend. I'm back the rest of the week.
on Monday.
Yeah, I know. They gave me Monday off. Now they tried to call me in, but I already had plans.
How convenient that was for you.
It was very nice. So,
Jason has plans to walk his dog this evening, so he can't come in.
hey, my dog's an important part of this family, man. I'm
No,
a family
friend.
man. You
Whatever.
know how I am.
Yeah.
All right. So the big news today was the Cam Sutton suspension. You want to talk about that, Jacob?
I think we kind of expected this news at some point to happen. We weren't sure exactly the length of the suspension, what the NFL was going to hand out, but he was suspended 8 games by the NFL. And it was interesting that he just decided he's just going to take that penalty and he's not appealing that at all. Did you think he was going to appeal?
Well, usually that's like standard, but also I think some of these guys are just like, they're just going to drag this out. Is it even worth putting this in the news longer? And if he's anywhere guilty of what he's accused of, I can understand why he just wants it.
Pleading guilty when you just don't appeal. You're like, that's, you know what? That's fair. I'm just going to take this and we're going to move on.
Yeah, exactly. But 8 games.
I mean, you might as well say half the season.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to say now with the 17 games, it's not really half, but it's basically
It's
half the
close enough.
season. And it's not like even when he comes back from 8 games, he's not going to be football ready.
Right.
It's going to be hard to get right in the swing of things.
He's on a new team also. He's got
yes.
that going against him.
Yep, exactly. It's his old team, so maybe you could get back into things. But, you know, that takes time, especially in the secondary, to work for them to work together. We really don't care how it affects the Steelers. How does this affect the Lions?
Yeah.
The Lions probably will get some money back, which is exciting. I don't know how long it's going to take to rule. The Lions petitioned the league to get basically some guaranteed money back, his base salary, which is $10.5 million. It's counting against our cap right now. If we do get it back, say it's before the season, we can use it now. If it's sometime during the season, you'll be able to use it, but it's not a waste. Even if we don't use it, it'll go to next year's cap, which $10.5 million, that's a big chunk of money, so that we can definitely use it. When they released Cam Sutton, they did it with what they call a post-June 1st designation, which essentially spreads out the cap hit over 2 seasons as opposed to just the 1 season. So either way of how this goes, the Lions are going to be on the hook next year for $6.5 million of the signing bonus that we've already paid for him. There's really nothing we can do to get out of that. We are paying like 2.1 of his signing bonus this year. We're stuck with that. But what we're trying to get back is the $10.5 million that was a guaranteed base salary. So the salary cap hit is over $19 million right now. If we can get this out of there, the cap hit total would be this $8.72 million over this year and next year.
Which is a big difference.
Huge difference, especially when you're going to be re-signing Aiden next year. We're hoping Aleem. There's Iffy we want to re-sign. That money,
Decker.
Decker. We have a lot of cap room, which teams like to have cap room during the year because they like to be able to use that to sign players. Someone get injured, they need to sign a player, so you need to have cap space. But the thing is, if you don't spend it, then you get to use it for next year. So it'll be vital for us to have this money for next year when we sign that big Aiden Hutchinson contract.
Right. Definitely.
Yeah.
It was a quick process as far as they went before they determined that they were going to suspend him for 8 games. And I don't know if typically they do the salary cap things in the middle of the season So you're hoping that we get an answer on that relatively quickly too, and they just put that money right back to us. It's not the worst thing if we have to wait until the end of the year or whatever, but
No.
obviously it'd be better to do now.
And also, they don't necessarily get all of it back. It's not like an all or nothing situation. So
Right.
they could give us any point back, but I'm sure the sooner that the bean counters in the Lions organization know how much we're going to get back, the better they could plan all of this
The
out.
bean counters?
I did. I said bean counters in that.
What does that mean?
You've never heard of that? That's an old term. You wouldn't get it. Our older audience will
no,
get that.
explain it. Bean counter.
Bean counters. It was like back in the day, they used to count beans. Oh my God. That's all right. Another
I'm
reminder.
Gonna need some sort of more elaboration.
You've never heard of this?
Oh,
Bean counters
bean.
are the people that are the accountants. They're the bean counters, man.
I'm just not going to get the reference, so I guess we'll just move on.
Cam Sutton's no longer on the team. We don't have to see Puka Nacua running past him in week 1 like we saw in the playoffs. We might be getting some money back. So this all may work out in the Lions' favor, because I think, like we referenced before in one of our podcasts, that at some point Cam Sutton was going to be making more money than Carlton Davis on this team.
Right now, we were paying him more than Carlton Davis.
Exactly. So it's crazy.
It's kind of a get out of jail free card for us, because this happens. We're able to cut him. We're able to recoup some of that money just because of his conduct.
Yeah.
You don't have to overpay him.
Exactly. And who knows, if Cam Sutton could have been a valuable part of this team if what he didn't happen, and say when he was maybe second cornerback or third cornerback, that he's not guarding Justin Jefferson. He's guarding number 2 or 3. But like we said before, Cam Sutton wasn't a guy that was going to man up. And
yeah,
so.
I don't dislike Cam Sutton or think that he necessarily was the only problem on the defense or the only corner liability. We just asked a lot of him. And you're right, maybe with a couple of the rookies and everything coming in, maybe we could have used him a little bit differently than what we had to do last year.
Yeah.
But the way we had to use him last year, it didn't work. Definitely, and we had to have an improvement.
Yeah. Yep. No. And now we don't have to worry about any of that. I mean, what he's accused of and everything like that was a total shock based on what I'd heard when we signed him. He was a high character player, but he just didn't handle this situation very well at all. Just, not talking with the team for a couple weeks, just not turning himself in, and,
Yeah, that's just a wild situation.
Yeah, I've never quite seen anything quite like that. And what's surprising is the Steelers knew all this and then still signed him.
Yeah, they knew what they were getting. They knew what the league was looking at. I don't know if they were hoping it was going to be 4 games, or maybe they knew all along it was probably going to be 6 or 8, and they were just prepared to deal with it.
Yeah.
It doesn't make a lot of sense for them to sign him when he's in the middle of this investigation. They don't know what the resolution is going to be.
Yeah, and I don't know what that... But you're not saying that, okay, we're signing, we're okay with what he did, but when you're signing before the resolution and all that, the optics aren't good, I can tell you that. Surprising from Steelers organization, I guess. Maybe they felt comfortable with him because he's been there before.
Trying to help him out, help the team out, I don't know.
So that was the big news of the day. Still to be determined how much it's going to help the Lions, but the length of the suspension is the big thing for me. The Lions are probably going to get a sizable chunk, if not all of that money back, because it's basically... You're going to deem the Lions had their rights to void his
justifiable
contract.
Yeah,
exactly. Because 8 games is very sizable. I think the NFL's a lot more aware of the optics of that now, because Ray Rice was originally going to get 4 games for his suspension, or not even that. I don't even remember. And then J-Mo was going to get 4 games for betting on a college game in his facilities.
Historically, the NFL is terrible at their suspensions.
Exactly. Just the consistency of them.
No consistency whatsoever.
Yeah. I've had enough talking about that. Let's move on to the next thing. Going to do a little fun exercise here. Jacob, I want you to pick an active former Lion, so he's going to be someone active in the league. We're not going to take into salary cap considerations or anything like that. Just someone that you would think that you would like to see on this team, and it could be for a variety of reasons. So go ahead, I'm going to let you start, and we can hit on some of these players and see what you think.
Okay. This actually was hard for me looking at the players that are active that used to play for us, and I don't really see any glaring upgrade over who we have right now. I think the one that I want back, I guess, would be Darius Slay. Obviously, our corner room is improved right now, but Slay was awesome. Had a lot of love for him when he was here. He was a shutdown corner. He was like the only bright spot on the defense, it seemed like, for a while. The team wasn't doing good, but you could always count on Slay to perform. And his best years are behind him, I guess you would say. But still a solid player, solid person, got love for the city. That's who I'm going with is Slay.
Yeah, I like that pick. He was definitely on my list. I think he's one of those players that, hey, you're picking him because you liked him when he was here. You want him to be able to experience some winning with this franchise, right? That's the way I look at it. Along the same lines, yeah, I'm going to say Quandre Diggs is the other one.
That was my other player, man.
I knew that was probably your player. I loved Quandre Diggs when he was with the Lions. He just screams football player, and I think he'd fit in right with the Dan Campbell, the grit. That's
100%.
He was all of that, and I loved Quandre Diggs when he was here, and he had a falling out with Matt Patricia, like so many of the players, and we've invited Graham Glasgow back. We got Jalen Reeves-Maven back. It's time to bring Quandre Diggs back, and you could make an argument that we could have some safety help. We need a veteran safety back there. You got Branch, you got Iffy, you got Kirby back there, right? No matter what two of the three you pick, they're young. And Quandre Diggs has seen it all. He's a Pro Bowl player. He could teach him a lot, and he's still available. So, I'd love to see Quandre Diggs back in there. What do you got to add to that?
He was my second. I only had two people on the list. I freaking love Quandre Diggs, man. And you're right. He would slot right in this team. He had the right attitude, the right mindset, the grit, the tough, hard work, leadership, everything that you want. He had that. And, it rubbed Matt Patricia the wrong way. Patricia had his own idea of how he wanted the team to be run. He didn't like any pushback from players. And it's an accountability issue, I think. Diggs is holding people accountable, and he's wanting to pull the best out of everyone. And that didn't sit well with Patricia. That was crushing when they got rid of Diggs, man.
Especially they didn't get anything for him.
You got nothing for him, and then you just see him thrive, which is good for him. It was good to see him thrive. Like, all love for him. But at the same time, like, that should have been here. I would be 100% okay with bringing Diggs back.
For the fit on this team, if we're going on that angle, who would help the team the most? I think Quandre Diggs. Now, it depends on what price we got him for. Diggs is still out there, just like Justin Simmons for the Broncos.
Right.
These guys are probably sitting out not hoping that someone gets injured. If that injury happens, that opens a slot for them.
They're just hoping for the right opportunity to come up.
I'd like to see Quandre Diggs get back here and experience winning and get to go to Ford Field and feel that energy and be on that side of it. Plus, I don't want him to go back to Seattle because we play him.
No.
We play him in week 4 or whatever. So I don't want to see him on Monday night playing against us.
Hey, man, we could be speaking this into existence. Nino, come back to us, man.
All right, I'm going to throw another name at you. See if you thought about this name. Matt Prater. He's still active out there.
I saw that. I did think about that for a second.
Yeah. I could see that he could come back and fit in this team. I liked Matt Prater. We had some inconsistencies at kicker until he came, and then he cooled it all down, and he was a good kicker. I liked
he was
Matt
solid
Prater
for a while, yeah.
I'm sure he's lost some in his leg by now, but I could see Matt Prater making it on this team. You got any other names, or you want me to throw some more out there?
No, let's hear. I looked at the list, so I know all the players, but the only ones I put on there were Slay and Diggs.
Okay. Jamal Williams.
Yeah.
He would definitely be slotted, their running back at best. He might even be behind Craig.
You know how much I love Jamal Williams.
Yeah, I know.
His personality and just everything he brings to the team.
Yeah.
I was not happy losing him. Obviously, we upgraded. I mean, Demo definitely played better than Williams did.
Yes. What you want Jamal for is that morale, that he speaks with emotion. He was all in, and it was shocking when he left. I agree with you that I like a running back room now much better than when he was on the team. And I think it shows in Demo's ability to break tackles and, like Ben Johnson said, turn those 4-yard runs into 7, 8-yard runs, and the 7, 8-yard runs into 15-yard runs. That's what he's able to do.
Jamal really helped turn things around for the Lions.
Oh yeah,
and got that image forever in my brain of after that Packers game, we won, but we weren't going to the playoffs. He's standing there like he's holding the football. He broke the record and everything. He calls out the media. He's like, we heard what you guys were saying. So we're the Detroit Lions, man. And that was just a really cool moment.
It was a very emotional moment for him.
Yeah.
And when that happened, I was like, there's no way they're not signing this guy. That's
right.
And I think everybody was in that same boat. We were like, we're going to have this guy back for sure, because how are they going to let him go?
He wants to be here. We want him here. Right.
Right. And he had just broken Barry Sanders' records. Regardless of what you want to think about that, whether that was an offensive line record, he did have a ton of 1-yard runs, but sometimes that 1 yard is the hardest one to get on the field. And he was consistently getting it. He was consistently getting it. So, I didn't like how everything shook out at the time. I just was sad losing him, but I was happy for the moment we signed David Montgomery, because I was tired of seeing him in Chicago's backfield. So,
yeah.
Speaking of Chicago's backfield, DeAndre Swift, he's still out there. That was another name that was on the list. I wasn't enamored with that. That was a quick pass for me. But you have any thoughts about that?
No, because I think that Jahmyr Gibbs is a better version of what DeAndre Swift is. So he wouldn't fit in the backfield with them right now.
No, he'd be nice to have third, because I think DeAndre Swift works very well in small amounts, because he just seems to get injured with us. He did, at least. And
yeah.
But yeah, no, wasn't going to work out. Same thing with TJ Hockenson. We got Sam Laporta. Sam Laporta is essentially a better version of TJ Hockenson. So I was happy with that. Jonah's still out there. Jonah Jackson obviously signed, but we went over that. We got Zeitler, so we upgraded with that.
See, that's the thing. You're spitting these names out of the former Lions, and it's like almost everyone you've had, I feel like we've upgraded at their spot.
Yep, and you still got Matt Stafford out there.
That's a questionable one.
I like Goff. We can maybe talk about this, but yeah, Goff is the guy. He's won us over. And like we said, the Matthew Stafford chant just doesn't work as well as the Jared Goff chant. A couple other linebackers that we drafted did not do anything for us was Kyle Van Noy and Tavai, who Tavai just signed an extension with the Patriots. So those guys that we drafted just didn't work out, but then they went to the Patriots and they somehow thrived over there.
I don't know if that's just a scheme thing or what. I don't know. I mean, athletic ability, it's not like they're killers.
Yeah. I don't know. Van Noy looks really good for a few years, though, and he parlayed that into a couple pretty good contracts.
Right. Van Noy got much better.
Now, Ndamukong Suh has not retired yet, so what's your feeling on...
he was on my list, but he didn't even play last year, right?
I know.
So that's why I was like, I don't know if he counts. I kind of had him as my one of my mentions in the other one.
We can leave him there. I connect with especially Quandre Diggs and Darius Slay very emotionally, because when they were with the team, they were the bright spot, and it was, the devoid of talent, and they were the talent. And Quandre Diggs played how I want people to play football, with passion, obviously skill. He was just here. He just a hard worker. Darius Slay had the skill and definitely was not without confidence, especially after he started balling out. He'd let you know about it.
He knew. He needs some of that swagger, though.
Big play Slay.
Right. Big play Slay. Miss him.
For sure. All right. So we're going to move on to the next segment. Same thing, except for you got to pick a retired Lion that you would add to this team. And for my list, I just picked from my era later. I didn't on that. We're not going to. Bobby Lane is not. Yeah. Doak Walker, Bobby Lane, Dick Night Train Lane. Dick Night Train Lane, do you know who that is?
I have heard of him, yes.
He's a Hall of Famer for the Lions, yes. Those guys aren't going to be on my list, and I'm assuming they're not on Jacob's list either.
So I have a question for the retired Lion thing. Are you going to do like you did the active Lion and just name every single player that used to play for us? Or do you actually have only a couple players?
I listed all those because I wanted to touch on all of them. I like to have the answers for the test, so I am prepared. I don't come in here and say,
you do just have a list of everybody. Okay.
I have almost 20 players. I have
That's
listed.
Ridiculous.
Well, they're not all the players I'm picking, but I wanted to have them out there so I could just throw the names out and get a reaction, because I think that's a fun part of doing it.
Okay, that's fine. So you are going to name pretty much every Lion then.
I'm going to name quite a few Lions, and they're all names that you will know. Right. Outside of maybe one or two of these, I would bet you would know all of them. I'm going to let you start again, though. I forgot to add that. You get them as they were with the Lions. So Adrian Peterson, while technically a Lion, if you brought him back, you would get him as he was with the Lions. All right?
So I didn't put too much information about the first guy on my list because it's too easy of an answer, and that would be Calvin Johnson.
Yeah.
That's the obvious answer when you ask. Of course, we want Megatron back. You want to put him on this team, give Goff another huge weapon, one of the best receivers to play the game. He had to be at the top of your list also, right? Was he number one?
That's the number one. So it was tough because obviously Barry.
When you talk about the team right now, obviously Barry Sanders, top running back, but how does he fit with the team right now?
Exactly. But I could tell you that any person my age would tell you that during our time with the Lions, everyone's complaint was if we had Dallas Cowboys line at the time and Barry Sanders was running behind it, it would be amazing to see. So from that argument, I definitely would love to see Barry Sanders behind the number one offensive line in the league, because what he did without that was just insane. But if we're going to talk about, hey, how are we going to improve this team right now? I think Calvin probably improves this team more than if we had Barry right now. That's why I would say Calvin over Barry just in this instance. Can you imagine you have Calvin on one side, you got J-Mo on the other, and you got Amon-Ra on the slot? That'd be unstoppable.
Right. Yeah. That's why I didn't really put too much information, because that's the obvious answer. It's too easy of an answer.
Yeah. But part of this is not just, hey, this is the answer. Let's explore some other fun things, just like we did with the last category. There's some players that I would really like to see have some winning ways with the Lions. But when Calvin was with us, there would be some times where they would have two cornerbacks just lined up. It's not like there was a safety shading his way. They would just put two corners or a corner and a safety straight on the line on Megatron. If you did that, it'd be to your detriment, because Amon-Ra would eat you up over the middle and J-Mo could just fly.
Yeah, they used to do that in the red zone. They refused to let Megatron score, so we're going to put two people right on him at the line. Do that when you have Laporta and Amon-Ra. You could have Gibbs coming out of the backfield. There's just too many weapons there. You can't put two people on him. And then if you do put one person on him, guess what? We're running a fade, and you're not going to stop it. You can't jump that high. You can't get there as quick as Calvin can.
I would love to see Barry Sanders run on this line, but as far as what would improve this team right now, I'd definitely choose Calvin. Someone told me I had to have Barry Sanders. I'm not losing too much sleep, I can tell you that. So, did you have any other players on your list over there before I go?
I had three people on my list.
Okay.
Calvin was number one, but like I said, he was too easy. The other two are, I'll tell you, I'm going to let you go next, but I'll tell you that the other two I picked were both linebackers, because I was trying to think who could help the team right now.
Okay, cool.
I'll let you go. Who was next?
So for me was Robert Porcher. I'd love to see him on the other side of Aiden, and obviously he could help right now because he was just really good for his time with the Lions. So that would be neat to have him on the other side. But who do you want to do, your linebackers? Or do you want to do
real
one?
Quick. Because we already started talking about him. So let's just do like the honorable mention, which was Sue.
Okay.
Because it was like, when we talked about this, Sue technically never retired, and he might show up again, but he didn't play last year.
Yeah.
He would be a monster to get on the line right now.
Oh my God.
Obviously, the real issue would have with him would be his personality and how well he's willing to just be a part of the team without being the number one guy.
Right.
But, I mean, Sue, for everything that he did while he was here, all pro, everything, like, that would be a huge get up front.
Yeah, if you had Sue in his prime against, even if you had DJ Reader on one side or Lee McNeil, either one, it wouldn't matter.
You rotate him, and then the offense just doesn't get a break.
Oh, I know. That would be.
That center wouldn't even want to play.
No. Can you imagine? Especially after Dominican stomps on you.
Yeah, right.
Oh, man.
All right. But the next guy I had on my list, let's see if he's actually on your list, too, because he's an odd one for me. So I actually put on here DeAndre Levy.
Ah, yes, he's on my list. Yes.
Yes. Okay. So, yeah, linebacker for us. 2014 season was his prime. Mm-hmm. He was second team All-Pro, led the league in tackles, just a huge defensive leader for us. And I think that was like year maybe 5 for him or something. So it was like he was just getting better and better. He had been in the thick of it. Just awesome. We made the playoffs that year, signed that big contract in the offseason. He gets injured in preseason. And then he had that whole kind of falling out where it was like, there was the rumors that maybe he wasn't as hurt as he said he was and that he was just holding out. Caldwell and everything said he's really doing everything he can to get back on the field. But I think he only played like another 4 games total over the next couple of years. So the way it ended was really ugly. But prime DeAndre Levy was a monster that season. And I think that if we could get him back and add him to the linebacker corp right now, that would be huge. That would be awesome.
Yeah, he's definitely on my list. And I love DeAndre. That whole falling out and injured, not injured, he said he could come back. The Lions said he can't come back. That wasn't left a sour taste in everybody's mouth, but his play when he was in his prime did not. He was special to watch. And yeah,
Right.
I like our linebacker room. We don't have anyone that's playing that was making plays on the level that Levy was making plays. That's your first linebacker. Who can I guess your second one?
Yeah.
Stephen Tulloch, is he your other one?
You got it, man. That's the other one.
What'd you like about him?
Same kind of thing. Defensive leader. And he wasn't exactly flashy. It wasn't like he was all pro or whatever, but I mean, he was a leader back there. He was a tough player. He was, one of those gritty guys before it was our motto, I guess.
Yep.
I really like Tulloch, man, except, when he injured himself celebrating.
Yeah. Yep. That is a Lions thing totally too.
Yeah,
At that time, it was like, of course our guy gets hurt, and it makes everyone even laugh at the Lions. Another linebacker that's on my list is my favorite Lion of all time, Chris Spielman. You didn't really get to see him play, but him and Tulloch kind of reminds me of Spielman, just someone that's dependable, hardworking. So Jason Hansen's on my list because we could always use a dependable kicker, and I like the name too. Jason's pretty good. Another hard-nosed, gritty player that you'll remember is Kyle Vanden Bosch too. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. I remember when Swartz got him and he's got the right contacts in, and he was just a hard-nosed player. I liked Vanden Bosch. Haloti Ngata was another player that it would wreak havoc in the center of the line. I liked his time here. Along with Snacks Harrison, that's another player.
Yeah, right.
He was good.
He was kind of seemed to be past his prime when we got him, though.
He did. That first season, he seemed like, okay, we got a pretty good deal for him. But then after that, I don't know if it was just he was done with the whole regime of the Lions and they washed him out or whatever. But Glover Quinn.
I really like Glover Quinn.
Theo Riddick was a great player. I loved him. And another player that could help us right now is Cliff Averill, too. I like just a guy off the edge.
Right.
When lost him to Seattle.
That was another one that sucked to see him leave when Averill left.
It did. I know. Herman Moore is also on my list. I like Golden Tate. Those guys, again, wide receivers are going to fall, second to Calvin. Lomas Brown's another just offensive lineman that was great during the Lions time. So those are the guys that I got listed. So anything else you want to add on that?
Nope. I had my couple guys.
Yeah, and I had my 20s.
You added some good ones, but yeah, then you also started just to add everyone that used to play for us.
I just like for everyone to know how smart I am and how much I study. So,
okay.
All right, man. We're going to move on to another topic. This one is on our buddy Matthew Stafford. There is rumblings that people would want a tribute video of him when he comes to town in week 1. What's your thoughts on that?
I go back and forth about this because on one hand, for everything that he did for us, he definitely deserves a tribute video. But do you put it on when he's playing for a rival team and when we're in the midst of the season like this? Or is that something that when he's done playing, we can invite him back and play a tribute video when he's not in uniform getting ready to play a game against us? That's just where the toss-up is for me. I definitely 100% think he deserves to have a tribute video done by us. I don't know that I would really try to show him that much love and support right before we play the first game of the season, and we're trying to take his head off in about 10 minutes.
Yeah. At no way would I ever have a tribute video of someone while they were playing. Now, if this was his last season, like he's did the farewell tour or something like that, I could maybe see the argument just so that you could wave him goodbye. Week 1, when we're playing an NFC team, it's the other quarterback. And not only that, The guy that we got, they traded for each other.
It's just weird.
It would be just so awkward, just the whole situation. I like Matthew Stafford beyond what's going on right now and the dynamics of everything that has happened. I like Matthew Stafford. I think he deserved better in his time here. But at the same time, he never won us a playoff game. But the guy that we have quarterbacking for us has won 2. Let's just say Jared Goff takes us to a Super Bowl in the next couple of years and wins us. Do you look at Matthew Stafford's the same? Because, yeah, he put up a lot of yards and did a lot of stats. We didn't get to the playoffs very much with him. And when we did, we never won a game.
I hope it comes to that Goff wins the Super Bowl for us. And then we have to have the debate of who had the better career, because Goff had the Super Bowl. Stafford had all the years, all the chaos, all the different coaches. I hope that's a debate we can have in the future, because Goff wins Super Bowl here.
Yeah, he wins a Super Bowl. He wins in my book. There's no other way around it.
You also make the argument then at that point is you look at every single player and all the line and the coaching staff and all the other right pieces we've had around Jared Goff.
Yep.
And Stafford didn't have most of that.
Yeah, I agree with you. And that's a great argument. But at the end of the day, quarterback's going to be judged on playoff wins, Super Bowl. And there's no doubt in my mind Matthew Stafford won a Super Bowl over with the Rams. He can do it. He could have made the argument that he did with the Lions, but he just didn't do it. And whether it was taken from him, like in the Dallas game, he might have got his playoff win, and this might be a different argument. I definitely don't agree that he should have one while he's still playing. Like I said, maybe outside of a retirement, and the game doesn't have any implications on whatever. Say it's the end of
even
the season.
The thing about that, though, when they do these farewell tours, they usually do that in the NBA or in baseball. They go around and they make a big event, even for opposing players that didn't play for the team. They give credit. Miggy had that tour everywhere that they went, gave him some respect. Those games don't matter as much when you're playing 162. Or when the NBA, when you're playing 82 games, it doesn't quite matter just as much. But in the NFL, every game matters so much. I can't imagine them actually doing it while he's still active, while he's still playing.
And if they do, it might be drowned out in Jared Goff chants, right? The whole video, they're just...
Yeah.
And what would Kelly Stafford say about that? I don't know. I don't see that ever happening. You're right. Every game in the NFL is weighted so heavy compared to an NBA or MLB game. So... yeah, I don't think it's going to happen, but I don't know why some people still want to hang on to Stafford when we got a really good quarterback playing for us right now. So
right.
I want to come up with an analogy for you, because I know you like Star Wars. I like Star Wars. Matthew Stafford is like Anakin Skywalker to me. So he was supposed to be the chosen one, the number 1 pick. He's supposed to bring us to a playoff win. Like Anakin's supposed to bring balance of the Force. Stafford gets traded to another team. Now he's Darth Vader. He's on this other team. In trading him, we got Jared Goff, who is ushered in, and he's won us 2 playoff games. So Matt Stafford did bring us 2 playoff wins by trading him. So I think Matthew Stafford is Anakin Skywalker. What do you think about that?
What would that make Jared Goff?
Jared Goff's Luke Skywalker.
I think you're close with the analogy. I don't know that I like it. I don't think it fits perfectly here, but I see what you're going for.
It doesn't fit perfectly, but he's supposed to bring us the title, and he couldn't even win us a playoff game, but eventually he did by turning to the dark side. That's pretty good on that. Anything you want to add?
No, I'm good.
So we get ready for our fun segment here. I get to ask you first, Jacob. Ready for the Honolulu Blitz?
It's time for the Honolulu Blitz.
All right, you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. What team did Sam Laporta score his first NFL TD against?
So the Vikings?
Nope.
J-Mo was against the Vikings, wasn't it?
J-Mo was against Vikings, yeah. That was fun.
Who was Laporta?
Falcons. So he had that play in the inside the den. I think it was one of those. Jared Goff says, "This is the play, boys." And it was Calais Campbell almost sacked him, and he just threw it up, and Laporta was just wide open.
I remember seeing that interview with Laporta. I was like, man, that hung in the air forever.
Oh, I know. It had to be.
He was wide open, and he knew. It's like, this is it. This is my chance.
In previous Lions iterations of the SOL Lions, it would have hit his face mask and bounced out of his hands or something like that.
Ebron would have dropped it.
Yeah, and then he would have blamed the media. Who scores more TDs this season, Laporta or Amon-Ra?
Oh, man, that is a great question. I'm still going to, you know what? I'm still going to say Amon-Ra.
Yeah, I think Amon-Ra is a good choice, but man, Laporta could be, especially with Joshua Reynolds, he is red zone demon out there.
Exactly. He's got all those red zone,
Yep.
Teams are more aware of him now. They're going to be looking out for Laporta more. But at the same time, the dude finds ways to get open. We find ways to get him the ball, especially with the red zone thing. We've got a lot of targets, though, too. So I think Amon-Ra is a better, more consistent, better, if you're betting, a better pick. Have more touchdowns.
Yeah. All right. So someone's going to gift you tickets to the Lions game this year. You don't have to pay for plane. You don't have to pay for hotel. You don't have to pay for anything. What game are you going to choose?
I'm flying out to San Francisco, and I'm watching them play the 49ers.
On Monday night? All right, cool. All right. This one's a non-Lions question. You had to pick right now. Jared Goff is not on the team. You had to pick right now. Who would you rather have, Dak Prescott or Jordan Love?
Dak Prescott.
Dak Prescott. All right.
Jordan Love plays for the enemy, so Dak Prescott's also.
Yeah.
I would rather have Dak.
Yeah. All right. Who makes the playoffs first, the Pistons or the Tigers?
The Tigers.
Tigers. All right. Yeah, I won 4 in a row today.
Kind of bummed me out. I was having a good night, and here we go.
I know. No, it's all right, man. I talk a little Tigers. I love Tigers. All right, man. That was the 5th one. My turn.
All right, here we go. First question. What Lions players who started at least one game last year, so someone that started at least one game for us last year, what Lions starter, I guess you would say, has previously started for the Chicago Bears? So there are 3 Lions that started for the Bears before us.
Demo's number 1.
Yep. You got the easy one.
I know. That's the way I go, man.
One one's really easy. The other one I would have known. The third one on this list I didn't know until I looked it up.
All right. I'm trying to think of where wouldn't be not any.
I'll tell you that there was one offense, one defense.
Okay.
And you got the offensive player.
So it's the defensive line. Okay. Or
defense, and then you've got one more player.
Oh, is it Vildor or Dorsey? One of those.
Yep. Or you got it. Vildor played for the
Yeah, that's right. And then they cut him, and then we picked him up, and then he was a starter for us. So yeah. That tells you where our cornerback room was last year. And the third one, I'm just gonna wave the flag. So what was the third one?
The third one is actually Badgley.
Okay,
Badgley started a game for the Bears too.
I didn't. I might have known that.
One of his maybe 6 or 7 teams that he's kicked for.
Yeah. All right. You had one on special teams, one on defense, and one on offense. All right.
Right. Who was the last Lions player to return a kickoff for a touchdown? Not a punt, but a kickoff.
Not a kickoff. Agnew?
It was.
Yeah. All right.
Care to guess what year?
No. Let me see. Say 17 or 18. I don't know.
Oh, so it was 2019.
2019. Okay. All right.
Crazy that's been that long.
I know.
Okay. What 2 quarterbacks had seasons with at least 5 game-winning drives for the Lions?
2 quarterbacks.
2 quarterbacks that had seasons where they had at least 5 game-winning drives.
Stafford would be one of them.
Yep, that's the easy one. He did it twice in 2014 and 2016.
Yeah, it's because he was always behind, so he had plenty of opportunity to come back. But some of it was his
I imagine that's this other guy, too.
Oh, yeah. I'll say Kitna.
Nope.
No.
Further back.
Further back than that. All right. It wasn't Joey Harrington because I don't even think he had 5 wins. So
is that right? I think you're getting warmer.
You're getting
a little bit further back.
A little bit further back. Was Scott Mitchell? No, that's too far back.
The year was 2000.
2000. I don't even remember. All these years go. What was it?
Charlie Batch.
Oh, Charlie Batch. Oh man, that was 2000, huh? Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's crazy. He had 5 game-winning drives that year.
Yeah. Oh, Charlie Batch. Best backup that Ben Roethlisberger ever had. All right.
So that's the trivia part. Now I've got a couple opinion questions here. So what current Lion do you think would make the best head coach when his playing career is over?
Jack Campbell seems like he's going to be a head coach, but he's pretty young.
A little early. We don't know yet.
Yeah, a little early, but I think that he just seems all about football. I don't think Aiden's going to be a good coach. I think Jared Goff is actually going to be a good quarterbacks coach, but not a head coach. I'll go with Jack Campbell, but Brian Branch also speaks to me, someone that's super intelligent, so I think he's going to be a coach someday too.
Yeah. That was kind of the dilemma I had when I was thinking about it myself, is that I feel like there's a few of them that would probably make good position coaches. To try to picture them as a head coach, man, I don't even know who I would pick for that.
Yeah. It's hard because they have a very young team. So it's a couple of years ago, you could say, oh, Brockers would be in there, or just they had some seasoned vets, but it just, most of these guys are
like
pretty
Taylor
young,
Decker.
So.
You know.
I think Taylor Decker. I mean, Frank seems like someone that would be.
Frank does a lot of other activities outside of football. I don't know that he's want to tie it.
Yeah, he's going to enjoy fishing and stuff like that, hunting and all that. Yeah.
All right. And last question, which is funny because the last question you asked me, if you had to lose one sports team in Detroit, so if they had to pull one team out of Detroit and relocate them, who would you give up out of the major sports teams? And once they relocate them, would you still be a fan of that team, or would you?
Yeah. It wouldn't be the Tigers or the Lions. I couldn't lose them. Now, the Red Wings and the Pistons have been in that boat at some points in my life, too, because in the 90s, when they started winning those titles, I was full-on Red Wings fan and just really loved hockey at the time. If I had to lose, I'd probably the Pistons is how I would lose. But man, it's bad boy years and stuff like that. I loved the Pistons during that time. It's easy to pick the Pistons just because of how they played the last decade or greater. But it's so hard. I love all our teams, so I don't know. Who would you give up?
I think the Pistons are like the easiest answer just because the team's not doing so well. The ownership is terrible right now. The fact that our arena that we play in was specially designed for the Red Wings, we piggybacked on. Now we have Little Caesars Arena. It doesn't.
Yeah.
It's just a weird circumstance. We already talked about that before. I wish they would sell the team, not relocate, but I wish they would sell.
Yeah. Well,
I don't want to lose any team. That hurts me to even think about them not being around.
Yeah. Even when I was in my darkest days with the Lions, I wouldn't want them to leave. I would never want to lose that team. The Pistons, just because they're losing, doesn't make it like the automatic answer for me. But I'm not a huge fan of NBA basketball right now. It's just not really into that style of play that they're playing right now. I'm more of a bad boys.
Jason misses the short short.
The short shorts. Yeah, that's what I'm missing. No, the 3-point line doesn't ruin it, but them chucking up threes all the time and no contact in the lane. To me, if you're going to go in that lane, you're going to expect some contact, even if you're a superstar player or not. But that's my argument on NBA basketball. But all right, man. This is a good episode. I had fun reminiscing on some of these old Lions, and I came prepared, you less so, but it's all good, man.
You just listed everybody that used to play for us. But you
did.
know what? That's fun, too, because people listen to this. They're going to remember all these guys, too.
Yes, exactly. And that was my point, is that
good memories, you're not bumming everybody out.
Yeah, no, and I just wanted some of those guys deserve credit because they played on some really rough Lions teams that didn't see much winning that we're lucky enough to get to experience now. All right, till next week, man. Hope you have a good week, Jacob, and I hope everyone listening does too. So go Lions.